All right, beautiful. So,
It's great.
um, it's my understanding that you are a PM today,
Yes, I am a project manager here. Yes, sir.
project manager. But Tori told me that you're visiting, several projects in the East Coast. Is that true?
Yeah, so right now I have a handful of projects. I have some in New Jersey, Delaware. I just
Okay,
inherited the closeout portion of a project in Chicago, and we're starting up a
nice,
job in Virginia. So I do spend a lot of time traveling from site to site.
nice, beautiful. And before we start with the other questions, if you want to give me like a little background on Matt Bezemek, like
Yep.
tell me about you. What have you done? In your career. Do you come from construction like family? Yeah,
Yes,
anything
I,
you want
I
to tell me
come
about?
from a predominantly construction and farming background. So I grew up in
Okay.
a small town. I like it. Everybody says small town. They're like, oh, I'm from a small town of Toledo, Ohio. Like, no, that's 200,000 people. Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
from a town of 500 people, like one traffic
Okay.
light. So if you're not a farmer or a builder or a truck driver, I mean, there's not much work else there. So
That's
I
in
grew up
Ohio?
around, I live in Ohio now. I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay.
Um, so I grew up building houses and working around farms. So that's kind of where I grew up. My dad was in construction, mostly did windows, doors, things like that.
Okay.
So after high school, I joined the military, got out of the military, and construction was kind of that's what I went to college for at Toledo was construction engineering, something I was always interested in. I didn't think I needed a degree to be a farmer, so if I ever decided I wanted to do that, I could always do that pretty easy. So
What did you
uh,
do? Army, Navy? What did you do?
I was Army. Yeah, I was
Army.
Army. I was a Cav Scout in the Army for 4 years. So from 2001 to 2005. So it's quite
Oof.
a while ago.
Tough years.
Yeah, it's quite a while ago. So I was there during the initial invasion of Iraq and spent a year there. So um, got all my fingers and legs. So I'm doing pretty good. So I'm very, very fortunate.
You get
Uh,
deployed one time?
just one time for a year. Yeah. So I got out just before my unit went for a second deployment.
Okay.
I got out and
Well,
went to college.
okay, nice.
So after school, I worked on the farm for about a year on my family's farm. Did
What
that
did
for
you
about
guys grow? What do you guys grow in that farm?
so corn, soybeans, sugar beets, edible beans, so black beans, navy beans, things like that. And
Michigan and Illinois, right? It's mostly beans
Michigan, yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's
corn.
mostly beans and corn. We
Yeah.
grow a lot of sugar beets up north, up in
All
Michigan.
right.
So that was a big crop for us. So I did that for a year after college. I did it all the way through college, and then for a year after school, I was trying to find my first professional construction job. I got my first job in Boston for Kiewit. I worked for them for a couple years,
Nice.
um, and then ended up moving to Ohio, working for a previous GC. That's where I met the people I work with now. The owner of my company, I met him at a previous company. We worked together. He founded Bryan Builders, and now I've been at Bryan Builders for since 2017, I believe, 2017. And I've basically been building Amazons for my boss, either in one capacity or another. Either the previous company or at Bryan Builders now for um, since 2000. My first Amazon was 2016, so quite a while.
Mostly Amazon warehouses?
That's basically all I've done since
Wow.
2015 was Amazon warehouses. So that's kind of been my bread and butter since then. So that's most of my construction experience is all based on that.
Nice. Tell me about those projects. They're probably massive warehouses, right?
Yeah, it all depends. So they're mostly what we do is tenant upfits. We don't really do any ground up. So basically we come in and find a shell, whether it's a new shell or an existing shell, and just basically retrofit it to fit Amazon's needs. When we first started in the program, we were doing small delivery stations. The buildings were large, maybe 100,000, 200,000 square feet, but the builds were not as complex. They were basically scrappy, quick, fast, get something open. Now, obviously, Amazon has more of a template for what the office block should look like. The finishes are about the same. The HVAC packages, electrical packages, starting to get a little more standardizes. Within different programs, they have different standards, but I mean, a lot of the stuff is kind of the same across the board. Just the configurations are a little different. So we started out doing smaller delivery stations, ranging in, 100,000 to 200,000 square feet was a big building back then. In contracts, maybe 3 to 5 million, and then basically moved into other programs and the programs expanded. So now the buildings are a lot larger, where some we're doing anywhere from 250 to 500,000 square feet. We've gotten to
Oh,
other business entities like t-shirt printing. We've done book manufacturing. We've done sub same days, which is like robotics fields. They have the little robots, looks like a giant Roomba that kind of goes around the warehouse floor, that moves cages and stuff for packages to
yep.
be sorted. So we've been able
It's
to diverse
nuts.
a bunch of different
I've
programs. So
I've
all
seen
within
those
Amazon.
robots. It's very cool when they have everything like automated in those
Yeah,
warehouses. It's pretty freaking cool. And
yeah,
these
we've
are
done.
what duration projects on average would you say?
Lately, most of our projects, I mean, the longest project we've ever had for a duration typically is about 6 months.
Okay.
Most jobs are about 4 to 6 months. Some of them are kind of extending out a little bit longer. They're giving us a little longer lead times, mostly because of the HVAC and electrical equipment is taking so much longer to get now. But most of these projects we're doing anywhere from 120 to 180 days. So
Okay.
you're doing that amount of work. Typically, we're working 6 days a week, 10-hour days is typically what our.
What's the main challenge you've seen in those projects? Maybe in the past, now that you have them like very well like drilled
Um,
down. What
yeah,
type of challenges have you seen?
the hardest thing is you have to move it. We call it the speed of prime. So Amazon, you'll get a set of drawings, and Amazon will change their mind along the way and make revisions, but the schedule kind of stays the same, or at least the expectation is the same, because
Okay.
they basically find out what date they want to launch the building from a business perspective, and you work backwards into that. So what happens is you'll get an initial composite is what they build everything off. It's like your initial floor layout, and that's what they build all the plans off of. You'll get the original bid set, and you'll get a minimum of at least two revisions of that um, throughout that build. Sometimes you'll get up to five, six, seven, eight, depending how many changes they make. So within those revisions, sometimes it's something small, but typically they call it like revision one and revision two, which is composite 1.0 and 2.0. The electrical and telecom changes are usually very substantial. So
Okay.
planning for the unknown, we've kind of gotten good at, we kind of know what's going to happen, but planning for Amazon changes and then again moving at the speed of prime. So they give you
Yeah.
information, but they want quick, fast turnarounds on revisions and change orders. They want, they don't want to affect the overall schedule. Sometimes that's unavoidable. We can communicate that. It's just dealing with the uncertainty of Amazon because with their business as it changes,
A lot of changes. Yeah.
a lot of
Is that,
changes. It's the design, but it also changes their business needs. And then based on how the company's doing, what kind of money do they want to spend? Do they realize they need all the bells and whistles? Or sometimes they cut stuff out. Sometimes they add stuff in. So you're just constantly dealing with changes almost hour by hour in some cases. So, I mean, that's probably a little extreme, but some days it feels very much like that.
yeah. Well, I mean, those gigantic companies, they have so much going on that a lot of things changes like on a daily basis. So it's understandable, right?
Yeah.
Um, and today you have how many projects are you like overseeing directly? Is it one and then you help visiting other
Oh,
projects
no.
or
I'm the project manager on, off the top of my head, I think five.
five projects?
I think I have five right now. Yeah, if
All
I'm correct.
Amazon.
All Amazon. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously main goals for these projects is get them on time and everything, but is there anything in particular that, as your personal vision that you like for these projects?
Most of the time is just trying to get out in front and get done well in advance of the temporary completion or temporary occupancy date. Because what that does is basically when that happens, it triggers a lot of the Amazon stakeholders to come in with all their folks and set up and all their stuff. So trying
Okay.
to get ahead of that, and Amazon gives us a milestone schedule of dates where they have their folks coming in, is basically trying to be a week ahead of those milestones and try to stay ahead of that and then identify any objects that may come along that would jeopardize those dates
Yeah.
because it's happened before. You don't want to be the guy standing there with your finger in the dam as Amazon's ready to like pour in resources and materials and you're standing there going, well, we're not ready yet. And Amazon's like, well, why did you tell us you were ready?
Do you
So
guys
just
install machinery too, or it's just the warehouse?
no, basically we do all the upfits, build the office blocks, that kind of stuff. The machinery gets installed by Amazon, other stakeholders. They
Okay.
have, so that's what I mean. We have milestones and other people. As Amazon has other vendors coming in to install the conveyors,
Yeah.
racking. They even have people that come in and put tape on the floor. So you got to mark out all the aisleways and things like that. So you got to be done ahead of time for those people to operate. So the AR fields, when they come in full force, bringing all their robots and
Yeah.
racking, and you got to be done and out of the way. So try to be done well in advance of those items and try to get anything you need in those areas done ahead of time and not just the day before. You want to try to be done a week before because they're always going to come back with an ask of, hey,
Yeah.
can you do this real quick? Can you add that real quick? So you can be able to just be out of the way and then be able to pivot without having to worry about your main work being taken away from the additional ads that's being added, if that makes sense.
Sounds like a good amount of pressure on the PM to deliver.
Yeah, but I mean, what
Good
I've learned
pressure.
as I gotten older, yeah, what I've learned as I gotten older, I rely heavily on my superintendents and my field team. When I was younger, I was always like, I got to be the one to do it, to make those phone calls, to make that stuff happen. So we've done a pretty good job of learning how, and I've tried to develop, empowering my superintendents to make those decisions, to really drive the schedule, because they're the ones out there every day
Yeah.
with their hands in the dirt with the guys, making sure it happens. I tell guys, I just run the checkbook and tell you when you can and can't get paid and tell you what the expectations are. But I really rely on my superintendents to make a lot of that happen. And that's been a life changer for me, to empower them to make those decisions, that I don't have to be the one to make all those decisions. So it's a lot of pressure, but it's kind of all I've known for
Yeah.
construction wise. So when you speak to other construction companies and they got 2, 3, 4 year long projects, I'm like, so you don't have any gray hair? You're
Yeah.
not on anxiety medication? Like, it must be a pretty easy. It's just a different mindset. That's all it is.
Different type. Yeah. This is
Absolutely.
a good segue for a next question that I had, which is, how do you see like what's your vision of like an efficient job site? Like, what are the ingredients that you think are very important apart from the team and the people, which is obviously number one that you just mentioned? Anything else that you would add to those ingredients of a very efficient job site in your experience?
One is organization. So the big thing you can tell if you walk into a job site and it's in disarray and there's trash everywhere and there's material spread all over, I can tell you right now, it's not efficient. It's not
Yeah.
operating in the best capacity. So having organization, having a plan, even the subs themselves having a plan with themselves and with each other. We encourage our guys to speak amongst themselves. Myself and the superintendents don't have to be a part of every conversation. You guys can work amongst yourselves. So organization is a big one, and having a clear direction of where the project is going. I think those kind of go hand in hand. So, I mean, to oversimplify it, just a plan.
Yeah.
Whatever the plan is, work the plan, and that's what it is. You got to have something to aim at, or you'll miss every time. So,
And in this organization, like, how important is to you like a proper schedule, good planning? Is it a part of the daily huddle? Is it something more strategic, more tactic? How do you see the schedule and the
so
field planning side involved?
we've gotten better about that, and that's kind of why we luckily ran into Outbuild and what you guys can provide. Because to be honest, a year or two ago, let's go back 2016, it was basically we did everything by the seat of our pants. It was like, here's the start date, here's the end date, just figure it out. And then you kind of
Yeah.
just every day was hair on fire, just trying to figure it out and to get it done. As Amazon has gotten better about setting expectations and giving us milestones and giving us targets to hit, we've gotten better at dialing those in, but it still turns into okay, well, now we're just tracking milestones. We're still hair on fire between these 5 milestones, but we'll figure it out. And this is what we've done. And we've gotten better. Now we will do what's called a play of the day, where every morning the superintendent now is meeting with all the foremen and having the plan of the day. What are we working on? So a lot of that stuff, it kind of naturally fit into us getting scheduling into. We always know that construction is about planning and scheduling, but all our jobs are so quick, fast, in and out.
Yep.
It's not like a 5-year job where you're building a power plant where you can sit down and you're like, oh, I need a conduit next Tuesday. And then, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then you just worry about it. It'll figure it out. Like, no, we needed it like 5 minutes ago, and everything is so fast. So now that we have this tool, I think it's allowed us to dial in and out a little bit more. We were looking for that tool to be across the board, to encourage more conversations, to encourage more planning and scheduling. Because to be quite honest, I mean, we weren't doing it. We were doing a lot of stuff flying by the seat of our pants, hair on fire, and just we were getting it done, and guys were crushing it, and it was fine. But there was a lot of heartburn, a lot of heartache along the way.
Yeah.
And now, just in the short time, and not to oversell it, I mean, I don't mean to blow smoke up your behind,
Yeah.
but having this program and the ease of its use, just in the few projects we've used it, and I don't care what a software does, to me, it encourages engagement. It encourages conversations between our guys in the field team. If anything, when they're opening it, they have to ask the question to fill in the 2-3 week look ahead, right? They have to ask the sub. So if anything, it creates a tool for collaboration. And there's many other benefits of it, but now we're starting to have, just in the past month or so, a lot more conversations of how this tool is going to go into our day to day. So it's taking more of that hair on fire kind of thing and extinguishing it. Now we're kind of getting a little more well-oiled machine to the best we can, and try to refine some of that and make planning more of our day-to-day operations. Sorry to go on that whole tirade there, but
Good to hear.
yeah.
And then what other tech are you guys using on your job sites? Um, I think you're
Um,
Procore, right? You're Procore
yeah, we
customers?
use Procore for pretty much everything. Now we're
Okay.
using Outbuild as far as tech, but I mean, we have some online cameras and stuff we do just for monitoring the site and if guys that can't be there for project managers to see stuff, but that's about it. We
Okay.
don't use a whole lot of technology. We use like all of our safety orientations are all electronic as far as like we do it
Okay.
all with screen and we're getting in the program where we can have guys sign the orientations via iPad, things like that. But
Nice.
um,
So you
I wouldn't
definitely
say
see
we're
the value in like having more tech on the job site.
very
Not,
much so because handing out paper is just it gets lost. You're just
yeah,
wasting money. You're just throwing something for guys to look at for 5 minutes. They sign it and you throw it in a file somewhere and you never see it again.
yeah.
So having the technology and not wasting paper and now my field engineers don't have to run around and collect documents. So like right now they're running out collecting the JHAs, the toolbox talks, the play of the days. We're getting more technology where we can do a lot of that stuff electronically because that saves a lot of running around. And I'm not like one of those people that's a huge environmentalist, but I don't want to waste paper and waste money and burn trees when I don't have to. When I can buy $100 iPad now because they're cheap, you can get them anywhere,
Yeah.
and now you can do it all electronically. It just makes everybody's life easier.
And in Procore, you have like all the submittals, all the RFIs, drawings, everything in there.
We do everything in Procore. We do all of our finances. We do basically pay
Finances
apps. We
too.
do
Nice.
owner pay apps, sub pay apps. We do direct costs. We do all our RFI submittals, drawings, bid packages. Procore for us is a kind of a soup to nuts approach. We use it for everything.
So you were just missing the scheduling and planning side of it.
Yeah, because Procore had the option of the scheduling tool, and that's kind of a cool little tool if you input stuff into Procore, but there was really no way to manipulate that schedule within Procore. We were using Project. Some people were using Phoenix because they had used it at a previous company, but nobody really was a master of those tools.
Yeah.
Project is a great tool, but it has 30,000 options. I look at Project like Excel. It could be the most powerful tool on the market, but does anybody really know how to use all those tools? No. It's too complicated to figure out all the bells and whistles it can do. And we didn't have anybody that knew how to do that. And to get it to do some of the simple things we want Outbuild to do was very complicated. Nobody knew understood how to use Phoenix, and then its integration into Procore was they didn't talk back and forth.
Yeah.
So it was kind of frustrating. And then to see what Outbuild had when I did my first sales call, I was like, I don't need a training class. I can figure this all out on my own. I call it the 14 button simplicity rule. Across the top on the main schedule, there's only 14 buttons. You can't screw it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. You go into Microsoft Project, you have 3 lines of tabs. Nobody knows what they all do. You get the book and it's this thick. Nobody's going to read that.
Yep.
I'm just trying to get a superintendent who chain smokes, who who doesn't like computers, and I'm going to try to get him to use a program like that. It's just not going to happen.
And you guys don't have schedulers, right? It's all the PMs do all the
It's the
schedules.
PM and the project team. So we have some teams where the superintendent is kind of the master scheduler. We
Okay.
have some teams where the project manager is the master scheduler. Um, Now I have a project right now. I have a young superintendent who's never done scheduling and he runs my 3 week look ahead and he does it all on his own. And we
Beautiful.
review it. We review it every week and it makes it easy. So yeah, we don't have like project schedulers. We're a small company of, less than 40 people. I think we have 38 full-time employees.
Wow.
We don't carry a lot of overhead.
You manage a lot
Everybody
of volume and projects for the small amount of people. That's
We
impressive.
keep hearing that a lot, yes. So just my
Very
division, I
impressive.
worked at Kiewit, we do more volume than that division did, and that division had over 100 people, and we're at 38. So luckily we don't self-perform anything, so I think that's part of the reason why we can do it with such a lean thing. But that's what we've always strived to be, is very lean, very mobile, having people that can jump into many roles, which is why a scheduling tool that's easy. I want everybody from the field engineer to the project manager to be able to use the same tool and not have it be so complicated. Only 5 people within the company know how to use it. Like
Yeah.
it's a waste of money and a waste of everybody's time.
So what would you say are the 2 to 3 like main values that you saw in Outbuild and why you wanted to work with us? Like obviously simplicity, ease of use is one of them. Do you have any other two that you like from what we're doing or something that you like from what we're working on right now? Um,
I like, and I think it'll get better. I did like how Procore talks to Outbuild when it sends roadblocks, things like that. I mean, that's kind of a low hanging fruit. I don't think but to me, everything was very intuitive. I like the way the program is. There's no one way to do anything with an Outbuild. I mean, whether it's linking activities or you want to move dates. I mean, you can manually type it in, you can grab it and drag it, you can pull the lines down. Um, and I just learned this yesterday. If you go into the actual activity card, when you actually pull up the task, you can update the 3-week look ahead from that little card at the bottom.
Yep.
So now you just showed me another way to how to do something. I like that there's no one way to do things. You can still get to the same end result, but there's more than one way to do it, which I think is great because you have so many people that like to look at things differently and like to handle things differently. Like you look at somebody how they use Excel. Some guys use the keys and just flow through the thing, and some people use mice to go around, right? There's no wrong answer. There's more than one way to do it. I think your program allows that flexibility. It also doesn't require a lot of data input in order to operate. You can get as complex as you want, but you also can be as very simple as you want and still get the data at the end, what you're requiring to see. It doesn't require what I liked. It goes back to the simplicity, but it doesn't require a lot of data entry to get what you want in the end. You can add all the tags and you can add all the company information. You can add all the fancy stuff you want, durations and lag and all that stuff. Or you can just make it a very basic 20-line schedule. Everything can just be kind of stair-stepped on the way down. And it can be very basic and you can use that tool. It can be as complex as we want it to be. It can be very as simple as you want it to be. And there's really no wrong answer because it'll still print out quality information on the back end.
I love
If
it.
that answers that, yeah.
Love the view on the platform. Love it. And anything in the future or near future that you would like to see, and go crazy. Like if there's any like integration or any feature or anything in particular that will be a game changer for you or Bryan Builders, what would that be? If you were like our head of product, what would you build?
Right now, and I think it's in the work, is I want to be able to use it from the iPad, and I want my superintendents to be able to walk around the project with an iPad and drag and drop, play with dates, alter the look ahead or even the weekly schedule from an iPad, because then the guys can walk around the job site and see it in real time. I've been told it's in the works. I'm saying it's coming, but
It's out.
okay, then I didn't. I'm going to download that app today because
The iPad is out. We just don't have the
okay.
drag and drop in the bars yet, but we're working on it. But you can modify pretty much everything,
Okay.
and it's the look ahead and an iPad in the easiest of form.
Well,
So that should
that's
be
huge
good.
for me. I've heard whispers of it, but I haven't seen that. So obviously more of that functionality into the mobile app. Because
Okay.
my thing is I want a program to be used, and I use this example because since I've worked at Bryan Builders, I have two of the oldest superintendents. They are both 64 years old. They do not like computers.
Yep.
Luckily, they use their cell phones and go into Procore and can do RFIs that way. But I typically have to pair them with a powerful field engineer to kind of handle all the admin stuff. I want something that is so easy that even they can grab a tablet because they don't like computers. A tablet's fine.
Okay.
That they can use that software. Now, I can get a 21-year-old field engineer to do all the fancy things you want that tool to do. But if I can have a program that is very easy for a 64-year-old guy that hates computers, is not real tech savvy, can handle. So far, the computer option gives him that because you just hit the plus button, you add in an activity. Oh, you can type that in, you can link them. To be able to have more of that functionality and simplicity on a tablet, it makes it that much better.
Awesome.
Obviously, more integration within Procore. I don't know how much information I wanted to talk to and from, but I would like more of the ability to have Procore talk into ProPlanner, whether it's even if there was a way to tie in. So I know you can make roadblocks, but even if the roadblocks could automatically update as you're closing an RFI or closing a submittal in Procore to automatically shut off that roadblock, maybe that functionality doesn't work.
They do though. If you
See, there
if
we go.
you
So
close
it's just a training thing at that end. So
if you close the RFI, it would remove the roadblock in Outbuild. And
okay, I always thought I had to do it manually. Okay.
I have a good news for you in that area. We are, and I don't know if I should disclose this to the world, but what the heck, we are working on a procurement log integration.
Wow. Okay.
So
I like that.
that's going to be very exciting because now you're going to be able to tie, submittals to your schedule and have a combined view of, where your submittals are in that sense.
Well,
So
that would be cool too, especially with a procurement log, because then I'm not putting long lead items on the schedule. It could be its own separate log. Because right now, because it kind of screws up the way the schedule looks. If I'm putting all Amazon's milestones in, then I'm putting a list of all my long lead items. Now I'm getting in my construction schedule, and I know I can collapse those, but it kind of messes up the flow of how everything looks. And then I just want that somewhere else. If it can tie into the schedule and it can put, milestones on the schedule or, tie to activities, that's fine. Yeah, so that's wonderful. And I think a lot of it is too, is we're still new with this. I'm sure a lot of the things that I
Yeah,
want out
of
of
course.
Outbuild is probably all there. So we're doing 3 days of rollout training with our team. We did the first one last night with Tori. I've already taken the intro class, but I learned 3 or 4 things last night that Tori probably already told me. But last night I was like writing this stuff down. I'm like, oh, I forgot all about this, or oh, I didn't know you could do that. So I think more and more as we get into it, honestly, I think there's probably more bells and whistles in this tool that we'll probably ever need. Maybe we'll get into it somewhere, but I like that. Again, it goes back to it doesn't have to be all the bells and whistles, but they're there. They're just kind of hidden if you don't
If you
need
need
them.
to use
So,
it. Yeah.
yeah, if you need to
So
use them, but it doesn't require it.
two things. One, I'll make sure that the team, shows you the app so you can start using it or testing it, at least you, and then maybe expand it to the
Yeah,
other PMs. And two, we would love your feedback for the procurement log integration. So if we can, take 20, 30 minutes of your time in the next couple of weeks to show you what we're planning to do, like the wireframes, the mock-ups, everything, and get your feedback, that would be awesome.
I'm here to help. I'm a big fan of this product. Anything I can do.
Thank you, man.
I don't have a lot of time. Like doing
Yeah.
this is fine, and I'll try to help as much. I'm a fan, and the more I can engage is the more feedback I can give to my team and get them to buy in. We've gotten some guys that are really excited about it, and then you got the old horses that are like, "Well, I don't want to use an old program. I like Project." I'm like, "But you weren't using Project. You were copy and pasting,
Yeah.
putting dates in, but you were never going back and updating it and using it as a tool, a daily tool." So we've gotten a little pushback, but now that I can show all these tools and show how easy it is, guys are starting to come around. But you're always going to get the stubborn people that don't want to take the new change,
Always, man.
whatever that change is.
Always. Always. At
Yeah,
this point, we've done thousands of projects and you see that all the time. But as soon as they see that it's easier, that it's faster, and it's less buttons, people start getting into it and they're like, okay, I thought it was like another complicated system. Um, and that's part of, obviously, of our job to help you and your teams understand how to do this with less clicks as possible and in the easiest way. Like
yeah,
we don't want to be another hurdle, another problem, another tool to do double entry. We want it to be an easier path to what was happening before and support you with additional things like the iPad and the integrations and the exportables and all those things. So
yeah,
let's keep doing the training. I'm hoping you're going to see a lot more value, and let's get the iPad out there so we can empower these superintendents, with easier tools to, give
yeah.
them the power to impact the look at in a few clicks.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's
what I'll do
beautiful,
is,
man.
and I'll reach out to Tori and I think I got introduced to Brittany as yesterday as
Yeah.
well. I'll jump on the iPad thing. I'll try to download the app today and start playing with it.
Okay.
I knew it was coming when we first got the software. I didn't know it was released. It had been, I think I heard it somewhere, but I just flew out of the backs of my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to worry about it. We'll talk about it someplace. But I will start playing with that now because if I tell my guys in the field that, hey, that's available now, the guys are going to freak out. Like they're going to love it because our
We
company does provide everybody with iPads.
It's recently out. It's recently
Okay.
out. So obviously there's a lot of things that we're going to be launching in the next 3 to 6 months, but now it's there. It looks great, and it will empower the superintendents with an easier tool so they don't have to go back to the laptop, sit
Yep.
down, update things which they hate, do it on the iPad. So
That's
let's
great.
do that. Let's do that. And if you need an additional training on the iPad, dude, happy to provide that.
I'll just sit.
We're
I
here to
like
help.
I can sit and play with it while I'm watching Netflix tonight or whatever, and just play with it while it's on my laps, which is nice. I will also be at Groundbreak, so I know you guys are going to be there.
You
So
will?
yes, I will be there. So
Beautiful.
myself and one, two, three other members of my team. So that's kind of how we heard about you guys was from Groundbreak last year. And then I got contacted by one of your sales reps, and I was like, I'll take the phone call. Let's go through it. And then he gave me the 5-minute introduction. I was like, I ran upstairs. My wife works at the same company that I do.
I
She went to,
heard. I heard.
yeah, she went to Groundbreak last year. I'm like, did you hear about these guys? She goes, oh yeah, there's like this cool thing. You got to hear all about it. So it's kind of like this whole like, so Groundbreak was a good thing. It's kind of how we got
Thank
connected.
thank your wife from me. Tell her
Okay,
thanks for
I
doing
will
that.
absolutely. So
I
I
would
will.
love to take you guys for dinner, or yeah, dinner will be nice to do when we're in Chicago. Get to know the rest of your team. That would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, we'll be there the entire time. Myself, my wife will be there. She's our director of contracts. Our controller will be there. I'm representing the PM team, and then I have one of my project engineers who does He does some field stuff, but he also does assistant project management work. He's kind of got his hands in everything, but he's
Awesome.
very tech savvy. He runs actually our company website, so he's going to be coming with us too. So we'll have a kind of a well-represented group at
Perfect.
that thing. So I will definitely stop by and say hello to you guys. I think I'm in one of your classes. I think I signed up for one of the ones you're speaking at. I think one of the
Oh, the future of scheduling with Smart
yeah,
PM and Procore.
yeah.
Awesome.
I believe
That's going
I'm
to be a
in that.
good conversation.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to be a
think I
good
signed up for
conversation.
that one. That was one of the ones when I registered. So I will definitely see you a few times at Groundbreak. But
Perfect.
maybe there we'll be happy to link up and um, give you as much feedback as you want and get so you guys can get to know our team.
That sounds great, Matt. Appreciate it, and looking forward to see you in the team.
Absolutely.
To finish, because I know you got to get back to work. Any advice that you would leave to other PMs in the industry? Not so much related to Outbuild per se, but any advice on technology usage or improving the planning process, or anything you would say to a younger PM that's coming in and wants to hear from an experienced PM like yourself.
I think the thing that I've learned is because I'm very stubborn to new change. I come from a very small town of everybody's done it the same way for 30 years, and you get in
Yeah,
construction with the same mindset. There is also always multiple ways up the mountain. Don't be afraid to try a new way, to try something new, to try something that may be out of the norm, whether it's a new software, whether it's a new process, whether it's a um, just a different way of doing things. You have to be open minded because with so many different experiences and so many different knowledge backgrounds, you're gonna miss out on so much if you're so stubborn to not listen to other people's experiences and try to find a new way of doing things. There's always a method behind the madness when somebody wants to do something a different way, and being open minded to that. So, and that's not just technology. That's daily meetings and how you conduct your business, how you handle phone calls, everything you do. There's always somebody may have a better way to do it, and don't be so stuck in your ways to not listen.
love it. William at Skander gave the same feedback. He was like, dude, don't be afraid to try new things. And that's a great advice, because a lot of young people, like even myself at some point, you don't want to try new things because you're scared to fuck up. And if you fuck
All the
up,
time. Absolutely.
like,
The fear of failure, and you don't want to be the asshole that screwed it up, right? Because you think you're.
exactly.
But then I also learned, and now that I just turned 40, maybe this is a midlife crisis talking, but like, okay, if I'm lucky, I got another 40 years.
40s are the new 30s, man. 40s are the
Well,
new 30s.
exactly. But
So
like, so if you look at it this way, though, and you go say, okay, if I'm, let's be a little morbid here, but if I'm halfway, does it really matter that I made a mistake? Did I learn anything? Let it go. Let it
yeah,
go. At 30, I could never understand that conversation. I always thought that was platitudes and nonsense. But at 40, I go, yeah, it doesn't matter because it didn't matter. The thing I screwed up at 30 doesn't matter at 40.
yeah,
Now, if I'm making that same mistake, obviously, but don't be afraid to screw up. It doesn't, nobody's dying. What we're doing here is not, we're not saving lives here. We're building buildings. It's nothing unless you make a giant safety mistake, but everything we do in project management can always be fixed, either through a conversation or enlisting help from someone else. It's not life or death. So
love it.
uh,
Love it.
don't be afraid to mess up.
Matt, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Same
Thank you
here.
for your feedback. Any more feedback that you have, feel free to send it my way, whether it's
Sure
good or
will.
bad. Like, that's the only way we learn.
Sure will.
Looking forward to see you in a month or so in Groundbreak. And yeah, man, we're here for you. So let's get that iPad set up.
Okay.
Download it whenever you can and give us the rawest feedback you can so we can improve that.
I will.
Thank you
I have
again.
a class with Tori tonight at 5, so I will make sure I have it done before then. So if I want to poke him a little bit at the end of the class, I can. So
Beautiful. Thanks again,
awesome.
man. Appreciate
Thank
it,
you
man.
again. Anytime.
Have a great rest of the day. Talk
You
soon,
too,
brother.
sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.